Hello, this is Sue Frederick having a mystical conversation, the kind where we lose ourselves in the wonders of mysteries, sacred processes, dreams from the other side, visits from departed loved ones, and soul mission yearnings. I love having mystical conversations. I am so blessed because I get to do it every day with my clients. I'm the author of 8 books, including I See Your Dream Job, Bridges to Heaven, Your Divine Lens. I'm a lifelong intuitive, a master numerologist, an ordained unity minister. Woohoo! And for the past 20 years, I've made my living helping people with private intuitive sessions where we connect to their soul's mission and to their departed loved ones. If you'd like to have a session with me, visit SueFrederick.com. So I am so excited about today's guest because I moved here, Gene, my husband and I moved here from Colorado in 2019. And I finally met my people when I met this woman. Her name is Carol Allen, and she lives here in Cave Creek, Arizona. And she and her wonderful husband, Tony Allen, were living their beautiful life, raising their 2 boys. And in May of 2015, Carol's beloved 20-year-old son passed in a motorcycle accident. Well, actually, he was 19, and her world shattered. But at the same time, as grief does, it launched her on a spiritual journey that would change her life forever. Carol now practices meditation and yoga regularly, and she is still loving being the mother of her other beautiful son, TJ, and a wife to Tony. And one of her greatest fulfillment comes from being a volunteer at Cave Creek Affiliate Leader for Helping Parents Heal. I'll say that again, helpingparentsheal.org. Greatest organization ever if you are a grieving parent. She's also a board member at helpingparentsheal.org. Her focus now is helping others move forward following the passing of a child, which is one of life's most significant and I would say difficult challenges. And she runs a support group in her home that meets monthly. She manages an online book club that meets quarterly. And she published her own book, her own story in November of 2021. And the title is Mom, I'm Not Gone. Gosh, you gotta love this. You gotta love Carol. Wait until you guys meet her. She is not only she is not only an amazing, loving soul. I'm blessed to know a lot of people in the world, but Carol will make you feel loved and uplifted and inspired no matter who you are or what you do for a living. She's also a real estate agent, so she goes around showing people homes all day. And I got to tell you, she's an intuitive real estate agent if there ever was one. So, Carol, would you like to tell us your story? Let's see, got to make sure she's unmuted here.
Good morning, Sue.
My
I am so
sweetheart.
grateful to be here. And thank you, everybody. Uh, I, as Sue had told you, my beautiful 19-year-old son, Tyler, passed away in May of 2015. And anyone who has children, I'm sure, or other loved ones, I mean, you can imagine the devastation. And I did feel like my world was absolutely shattered, just absolutely shattered. And it was hard to even have the will to move forward and live. And I
And
have
Carol,
another son.
Carol, I just want to share with the listeners that you had been raised Catholic and had kind of reached a point in your life where you kind of weren't sure if you believed in anything, and that was okay. You were just happily living your life, as mom and wife and everything, and real estate agent. And that when Tyler crossed, you started to have mystical experiences immediately. So do you want to talk about that?
Absolutely. Yes, I did. I was Catholic, and although I was raised Catholic, the older I got, the less I the less I believed. I just thought if there's this all loving God, then, why is there so much pain in this world? But Tyler came on very strong and proved me wrong. I mean, immediately from the time that he was in the hospital where they did tell us that he wouldn't survive, and we were just kind of waiting. Every time I would lean down to hug him, the heart monitor would go crazy. And I just thought, they're saying he's not aware of anything, but obviously he is. And
Mhm.
just, it was like I was cracked open every day after that. He really worked hard to prove to me that he is right beside me. And that has been the only thing that has helped me move forward. I know that he's here. I know that he gives me tons of help in my life. And I know with 100% certainty that I will be with him again.
So do you want to share one of those signs that he has shown that are just kind of undisputable?
Oh my goodness, there are so many, but one of the very first signs that he shared with me that just really changed my path and my journey was there's a picture of my husband on Tyler's motorcycle. Tyler, Tyler's motorcycle had a nail in the tire, but he was actually riding my husband's when he had his accident. So my husband decided to ride Tyler's motorcycle from the service to the cemetery because numerous kids from Motorcycle Mechanics Institute, which is where he was attending, appeared at our home on their motorcycles. And my sister's son's girlfriend took a picture of Tony, my husband, on the motorcycle. And weeks later, my older son, TJ, is actually one who discovered it. He said, Mom, what do you see in this picture? And he expanded my husband's face with his helmet on, and clear as day, there was this reflection of Tyler.
Oh my
And
God.
it was so incredible that I actually went back to the original photo because I was still just learning and still,
Mhm.
wasn't certain. And I remember thinking somebody must have messed with this picture because it was so crazy. And it was just like this. I had this epiphany and I said, oh my gosh, he was there, he was at the service, he saw everything, he saw all the love that everyone had for him, all the hundreds of kids that were there talking about him. I mean, I even said to my husband after the service, I knew Tyler had a lot of friends, but I would have never, I never knew this. And I wonder if he knew. And then it
Aw.
occurred to me, he saw, he knows.
Right. And the other thing is in your book, which everybody can get on Amazon, Mom, I'm Not Gone. You have all these pictures, right, of the signs?
Yes, yes. When I
And
wrote the book, I thought, I want to show this proof because
mhm.
I was somebody who needed proof prior to this. I know now, but I wanted to actually show the evidence. So I
Mhm.
talk about the signs, and then a lot of times there's pictures just to show the proof. I mean, there's a
It's so
picture of his
good, Carol. Yes,
reflection.
yes. I mean, if anybody has doubts about this, go and buy her book because she has these amazing photographs all throughout it of signs that beautiful Tyler has given her to prove that he's still with her, he's still around. And I have to share a sign from Tyler because he is so good at putting his face in things so that you can recognize him. So I have a Ring doorbell, and I had just been having coffee with Carol and with the other girls from Helping Parents Heal who live here in Scottsdale, Cave Creek, and we were having a great time, all laughing and everything. And I went home and I was sitting in my bed looking at the helpingparentsheal.org upcoming conference program, which is just an amazing thing where all of these great speakers are going to be talking about life beyond death. And I'm very blessed to be included as one of the speakers. And I was going through the program and I lifted up my heart and I just said to the kids, because I've connected to these kids in sessions with their parents, and I said, thank you all so much for including me in this. And it was such a heartfelt connection to these kids. And instantly my phone gave me a Ring doorbell movement notification, and that usually means somebody's bringing a package to the door or something, you know. So I picked up my phone and looked at the front door, and there was an orb. The Ring doorbell was showing me this. I guess if you're not familiar with an orb, it's kind of a presentation that spirit makes in a round circle of light that can come through in a photograph. And there have been many researchers looking into this, and you can go and look up what orbs are. But right in the middle of this orb, which looked different from any other orb I'd ever seen, was Tyler's face. And the minute you shift your view of the orb from just seeing it as a crystal thing of color and look at it a certain way, you see Tyler's face in it. And I was so blown away. And so I sent the picture out to Carol and Elizabeth and Lynn, and I said, "Who do you see in this?" Because I didn't want to say, "I think it's Tyler," because I thought, you know, that's up to Carol, really, if it's Tyler. And so I said, "Who do you see?" And Carol jumps right back and says, "That's Tyler." So I just think he's one of the most powerful souls on the other side, helping us all just remember he's around and remember that spirit is real and realize that there's no such thing as death. So, Carol, I want to thank you for really bringing this whole experience to all of us, because you've shared it so warmly and so beautifully in your book and in your talks that you give at Helping Parents Heal, and in the way that you help so many grieving people.
Oh, thank you so much. And right back at you. You've been my little earth angel since I've met you.
Is there, so what else would you like to tell us about your mystical experiences?
Well, he just, I mean, I'm 7 years in the journey, and one of my fears was that as time went on, once I really, really felt him, and then I had this fear that as time went on, maybe he wouldn't come on quite as strong. And I can tell anyone who has had a loved one pass on the other side that as long as you are aware of it, and you continue that relationship, they continue with the signs forever. I mean, forever. I even went as far as to say to Tyler recently, because my signs are a little bit more subtle now, which is
Mhm.
fine because I know he doesn't have to work as hard. He
That's
used to
right.
give me signs that would like knock me down the steps, but now I get the number 11 from him constantly all
Mhm.
day long. And I mean, if I look at the clock, it's a 12:11 or nine
Mhm.
eleven. I get a text and it's on the it's 1:11. I look
Mhm.
at my phone that where my battery is about to go dead, and I happen to notice it's red and it's at 11%. But the other day I did say to him, I think it's been a while, Tyler. It's time for a big knock me off my socks sign. I've been a little overwhelmed with life. Just I had a lot going on with real estate and work. And so I was teaching yoga. It was a Thursday night and it was already getting dark by the time I was coming home, and there was a motorcycle that pulled up next to me, and I
Mm.
have a button on my visor that we give away for a hike we do, and it just has Tyler's face in Sedona, and his arms lifted up in the air, and we wrote on there, "Live simple, love big," because that was
Mhm.
Tyler's motto. And so when I saw this motorcycle, I looked up at my visor, and the button wasn't there. And
Mm.
I even saw the holes where I would put the button in when it would fall off. And so I looked around and I thought, oh shoot, it must have fallen. And it was getting dark. And so I thought I'll just find it in the morning. So I pulled into my garage and went inside. Well, I was the first one out the next morning, and I got in my car and I look at my visor and the button is back on the visor.
Oh
And
my
of
God.
course, I run inside and I start yelling at my husband. I'm like, "Have you been in my car?" And he didn't even know what I was saying. He's like, "What are you talking about?" And I said, "Have you been in my car?" And he said, "No, why would I be in your car?" And I said, "So you didn't touch Tyler's button?" And he said, "I have no idea what you are talking about."
That's so
And
great.
yes, and I just said, "Okay, Tyler, thank you. Thank you for that beautiful sign."
That's so great. Well, I even love the husband part, because if my mirrors are changed in my car or anything, I'll run in the house and go, "Did you do something in my car?" And Gina's like,
Yes.
"No." And, so, yes, and I love it that, that sign happened and you just accept it because you're so used to these kinds of signs now. And I would say Tyler is not subtle because that picture of the orb, I posted that in my social media, Facebook and everything, and everybody sees that face. I mean, it's
I know.
undisputable.
It is undisputable, and I sent it to my sisters, and I sent it to my parents, and they immediately said, "Oh my god." I mean, they I didn't have to even direct them where to look. They it's his
Right.
face is there. And,
Oh, gosh,
yes,
it
he's
blows me
definitely
away, because Carol, the truth is, we're all always getting little signs from the divine and we ignore them. We don't believe in them half the time, or we're busy and so we don't pay attention. But Tyler is one of those spirits who says, you're not going to forget me. Here's my face in your doorbell.
Yes. I
And I
know.
I also
I'm
felt like
so
he
blessed.
was I also felt like he was acknowledging that, yes, the Helping Parents Heal conference will be very helpful and healing to so many people, because that's what I was holding my hand and really looking at when the sign appeared. Um, and again, I just want to say to any of you parents who may have lost a child, this is the group you've got to go to. Just go to helpingparentsheal.org and look at their classes, their videos, their everything they offer, including this upcoming conference in August of 2022. They will be having conferences hopefully every year now that COVID has quieted down a bit. And all you need to do is show up and meet some of these other parents, hear their stories, and you will feel validated in your own communication with the other side. And I also want to say, because people who follow this podcast are some of my numerology clients, the fact that Tyler is showing you the number 11. 11 is a very sacred number. It's all about intuition and connection to the divine. So yes, he's kind of showing you that number as a sign that reminds you, Carol, that you have that pure connection to spirit, to the divine, that's open channel for you 24/7. And I'm sure you use that channel in your own spiritual work and your own work with helping grieving parents. But he's just acknowledging that, yes, you're a sacred teacher here, Carol. And for him to be on the other side telling you that all the time, that's pretty cool.
Oh, I know. It is pretty cool. And the beauty about helping parents heal is we are all about healing because we know that our kids, we continue that relationship with our kids. And even, even for those who believe in something more and believe that their children are in heaven, it wasn't good enough for me. I needed to know that that relationship would continue while I'm here in the physical, that I still continue that relationship with him. And it's funny how how he gives me messages. I mean, I was one day had a friend in my car, and I happened to pass this subdivision. It was a condominium complex that I had shown one of my clients to, and I started telling my friend, "Oh my goodness, this client is one of the most difficult clients I've ever worked with." I showed her some in here, and the last minute, she made me cancel, and I said, "She's truly, in 25 years of doing this, just been one of my most difficult clients, and I am not kidding you." And I, for the conference, I actually printing out this picture. Literally, this car kind of turns in front of me and stops. We stop at the light, and as I'm saying this, the car in front of me, I look at the license plate and it says walk away. And we both just started to laugh, and I said, "Oh, I guess Tyler is giving me a clear message here." But this is the kind of stuff that happens in my life all of the time,
I love
or I'm
it.
in the middle. It's just it really is amazing. It's amazing.
But the amazing thing, Carol, is that you accept it and validate it and are open to it. And that's what we all need to do because, cynicism is easy. and the world is filled with cynicism, especially lately. And what I believe is that, you know, we have one foot in the physical and one foot in the divine at all times, and we get to choose if we're going to be open to our divine essence, to our connection to God consciousness and higher self and higher awareness, or if we're going to shut that part of ourselves down and deny it. And then it's like we're walking through life with only one eye open and one set of
Exactly.
awareness. Yeah. So you are
Exactly.
such a great role model, you know, as an everyday person, a person who was not especially spiritual and who was loving life in the physical world, who then, through a devastating loss, opened up completely to her divine self, to her higher awareness. And as you remember, Carol, from our numerology session, you're a Scorpio 9 path in this lifetime. And that really is perfect for what you're doing with grieving people, because you're really lifted up to this old soul consciousness that we are more than human, we are more than physical, and you are sharing that bridge to the divine with everyone you connect with, and that is perfect work for your soul. And it's just so amazing and inspiring to know you. And the other thing is, um when you look at this experience you've been through, and I know it happened in 2015 and it's radically changed your life and how you perceive things, but when you look at it from your soul's point of view, do you believe that this was part of your life plan, you know, like a preordained event, um, that you and Tyler chose as part of an awakening?
Absolutely 100%. And Tyler has proven it to me. And I do talk about that in my book as well. There's a sign where he basically, I know with 100% certainty that this was part of our soul plan, which also answered my question about if there's an all loving God, why is there so much pain? I believe 100% in reincarnation. And I know we've had numerous lives together, and everything makes sense to me why we would choose this. I was very much hung up on this earthly realm and and loved life, but also was deathly afraid of dying,
Mm.
to the point where I was almost becoming a hypochondriac. And I can't tell you how liberating it is now to have zero fear of death, to actually look forward to it someday when it's my time, and just 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 I've been cracked open, and I had all these questions prior to Tyler's passing, and I can say they've all been answered. And I know that Tyler and I have planned this journey together. And my husband used to say when I started discovering this, and he would say, I would never plan this. And I said, well, of course you wouldn't as a human. And I said, but on a soul level, life is the blink of an eye. And Mark Pitstick from our group, who heads our caring listeners, he said something that was really had a huge impact on us early on in my journey. He said, life is like a gym session to the soul. The harder you work, the harder the challenge, the more the growth.
Mhm.
And it's true. And I feel like that was, I mean, I've always thought I had a lot of compassion and I was a loving, kind person. However, now I feel like my life here is really about helping others. And I always thought, I had a tunnel vision of what life was supposed to look like. And now I realize that it's okay. We don't have control. And my journey is different than I originally thought it was. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I know that I really believe that my journey here, in addition to being a wife and mom, is helping others. And I think that ultimately that's really what all of our journeys are.
Mhm.
But unfortunately, it took something this significant to to show me that. And mediums have also said you were way too hung up in your earthly life, and you and Tyler chose to come here to grow. He knew that it was going to take something this big to to send you on that search for answers and really realize that, yes, there is so much more.
Oh, Carol, that is so beautiful, and it's why I love you so much. And as the listeners know, I've always said that grief is our greatest spiritual teacher. She wakes us up like none other. And that if you've agreed to have this grief spiritual teacher in your life, it means you're a very old soul and you are determined in this lifetime to wake up, just like Carol described, and understand that life is so much more than what we see. So, Carol, who lives, who dies, who tells your story, at the end of your journey, how do you want your story to be told?
Well, I want my story to say that her mission in this world was all about helping others, and it took some time to realize that and to get there. But when I'm on the other side, I want to see all good that I've done. I know we have that life review, and I'm hoping that I have no disappointments. I mean, I'm human, so I still make mistakes, but I hope that I made a huge impact on someone's life. And I mean, my greatest joy is truly just talking to someone who's suffering, and by the end of our conversation, hearing them say, "Oh my goodness, you've given me hope." And that is one of my greatest joys. So that's what I'm hoping that my life story will say.
Oh, Carol, that is so beautiful. I'm so honored to know you. I'm so honored to call you a friend. I love you, girl. Thank you so much for doing this with
Oh,
me today. Thank you,
I
sweetheart.
love you, Sue. Thank you.
And if anybody wants to know more about Carol, you can get her book, Mom, I'm Not Gone, by Carol Allen on Amazon, which you really should get because it has all these pictures in it of the signs from her son. And maybe Tyler's face will show up in your Ring doorbell. And also, go to www.helpingparentsheal.org to learn more about Carol and all of these other parents who have turned into healers and helpers, and there's so many helpful videos on there. So much to learn at that website, helpingparentsheal.org. And then if you want to know more about my work or my books or visit or do a session with me, I work on Zoom with clients from all over the world. Go to SueFrederick.com. Thank you all for this beautiful, mystical conversation.